Hello, everyone. This is John Galt speaking, here with a live stream for you guys. Don't do very many of these anymore. This is a live stream where we go to the Unreal 4 forums and we surf around to see if there's any topics that I feel like talking about. We take questions from people who show up for the live streams, which are never announced, by the way. And talk a little bit about what I'm up to, what I'm into, what I'm doing, what my plans are for the future, if there are any plans for the future, and that kind of stuff. And so let's go ahead and get started. So, as some of you may or may not have known, I told you guys that I was working on a new tutorial for Udemy and that it was going to be done a little bit differently than I've done them in the past, which is this is a third-person shooter style, and basically I'm just going through and answering questions that I have got over the years of doing this stuff on this channel and trying to answer them. And I wanted to try to keep this series shorter than the other series that I have, but in actuality, this one may end up being even longer than the other. And the reason for that is because I have already posted, just so you guys know, this is my YouTube channel. And if you click this little button right here, it will take you to my Udemy page, my profile page. And this is the courses that I currently have available for sale. And so this course I posted quite a long time ago, by now actually, and it is 44 hours long, and it costs $59.99. And it's based on a first-person style multiplayer game. And so I've got a lot of questions about this course, some things that people were wanting to me to cover in that series. But the main thing that the complaint was that it was too long for some people. They thought that the tutorial was too long. And others wanted it to be even longer because they wanted me to add more stuff to it that's not covered in that tutorial series. So you can't please everybody, obviously. And so the idea with this new tutorial series, which currently it's $39.99, which is cheaper. And I have posted what I consider to be phase 1 of this tutorial series. And basically, we go through the process of creating our core foundation for a third-person shooter style multiplayer game. And then there's going to be a phase 2, potentially a phase 3, potentially a phase 4. It really just depends on how well this tutorial is received, how many people buy it, how many people leave reviews, what kind of reviews it gets. But the idea with this is going to be taking questions from the people who are taking this course and then creating the video that goes along with that question. And so that's what phase 2 is going to start. So phase 1 is there. It shows you how to build phase 1. And then as time goes on and people buy this course, more people buy it, more people are interacting with it, and more people are asking questions, then there'll be a phase 2, which is started, and then I'll start creating a series of videos in that phase to answer the questions that were received from the people who are taking the first part. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope that's not too confusing, but that is the plan. And currently this one has 17 videos, and there's a total of 16 hours in this series. And so there's that. Now, another thing that I would like to mention, one of the complaints that I received from this tutorial was that I did not provide the project. Okay. And I explained in some live streams, answering those questions as to why the project was not included with that tutorial series. And so I've already gotten some questions in regards to this project, people asking, you know, why is the project not included in this one? And people want the project. They want the completed project. Well, guys, I'm going to, okay, so the first explanation that I gave as to why the project is not included is because people are generally lazy. I know this because I'm lazy. And so when you're trying to do a tutorial series for people that are supposed to be using these tutorials to learn things from, they have a tendency to not really complete the course. They just get the project and then go on with it, right? So in other words, it's like they're trying to buy the project and not really the information contained on how it was created. So that's one reason that I don't include it. But there is another reason why I don't include it, and that is because that is to protect me for a couple different reasons. One is, if I happen to use some asset in one of these projects that is not owned by me, then that amounts to copyright infringement. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that even though I try my best to use 100% freely available assets in these, so in other words, you don't have to go to the Unreal Engine marketplace and buy a $60 animation set or a $30 weapons pack or any of that stuff. I try to source completely free stuff. But even having said that, I still can get in trouble for distributing assets that are not owned by me, even if they are free. An example of that is this, right? So we're going to go ahead and actually open up this project. So this is the project that we built. So in this project, you're going to notice that there is a military weapon silver pack that's in here. Okay. Now that is 100% free. It doesn't cost anything and you can get it from the Unreal Engine marketplace, but I am not allowed to distribute that. Okay. So even though it's free, you can go get it for free. I can't package it up and put it in something and then give it out or sell it. And you have to keep in mind, I am selling this. So you have to pay to do the Udemy course. Okay. So I'm profiting off of this free asset. So there's a lot of legal loops and red tape that you have to be careful of so that you don't get yourself in trouble. Okay. And so that's why, another reason why I do not provide the project files for these tutorials. Another reason why I do not provide the tutorial files for these is this. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. I do that. I try to be as open and honest with all you guys as much as I can. So we're going to go ahead and go into the creator part of this. So I'll just show you guys this. So this is where I can edit, add more videos, correct spellings, etc., etc. But also I have the ability to track, you know, how much money I've made. Okay. Now, Udemy by default gives you a 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay. And so what that means is, I probably shouldn't say this, but since I try to be as open and honest and transparent as I can, I'm going to go ahead and say it. So technically, you could buy a course on Udemy, use it, okay, use it, and have access to all the videos and everything for 29 days or 30 days. And then on that very last day of the month, you could request a refund and Udemy will give your money back. Well, by the time that happens, you could have already downloaded all the videos. You could have downloaded the project files and you would have got them for free. Okay. And that is a dick thing to do. Okay. But it happens far more than you guys might be aware of. So I'm going to go down here and just show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so we'll go ahead, since this is the new one that I posted, we're going to go in here and you're going to see that there's already quite a few people have bought this tutorial series. Now, one thing that I want you to pay attention to is this right here. See right here where it says refunds? So these people bought the project and then they turned right around after they bought it and requested a refund. Now, if I had have included the project files, you guys see the problem here. So they could go in here, pay their money, get access to the course, download the project file, request a refund immediately, and now they have the project that I've spent months on building, doing a tutorial for, and they just got it for free. Okay? And that is a dick thing to do, so I don't do that. Okay? And also, I hope you guys understand that my goal with these tutorials is not to try to get rich. Okay? One thing that I want you guys to be aware of is that Udemy gets half, automatically, they get half of whatever I charge for these projects. So one of the complaints from the other project that I had before this one was that it cost too much. Well, they don't understand that half of whatever I charge for this, half of that automatically goes to Udemy, okay, for using their service. So if I'm selling something for $39.99, Udemy gets $20 of that right off the top, okay? Another thing for you guys to keep in mind is when people are from foreign countries, they pay in their currency and then it gets translated over into US dollars, and then I get half of that. So as you can see right here, this person, I don't know what country they're from. I have no idea what that currency is right there, but you can see that is $279.99. My portion of that, after it's converted to US dollars, is $4.36. Do you guys see that? Okay. Here's another example. I have no idea what this is, but when it got converted, I get $12.50 of that. $5.92. Do you guys see that? So I don't want you guys to think for a minute that I'm getting rich off of doing Udemy courses, because I'm not. Now, the only exception to that is that when you guys use the links that I provide, as an example, I've got 2 videos here that I uploaded today talking about this project. And if you click this here and you actually use this link to purchase the project, I get 100% of that money. So as you can see here, Scott Lang, who's been a long time follower, and thank you, Scott Lang, by the way, for buying this new one. You can see that he paid $39.99 and I got $37.63 of that $39.99. And the reason is because apparently he used this link to purchase it, and he didn't just go to Udemy and browse and find it and buy it. So for any of you guys that are purchasing my courses or possibly going to purchase these courses, please, please, please use the links that I provide to purchase it, because it helps me out far more when you guys do that. Okay. Okay. So there you go. There's full transparency. So I do not include the project files on these for one reason. I don't want to get in any trouble for distributing something that's not owned by me. 2, it makes people lazy and they don't actually go through the tutorial, follow the instructions, and learn how to do this. They just get the completed project and then ask me 10 million questions as to how they change this or how they change that, when if they had watched the series, they would know how to do it. Okay. And I know that may, that may make me sound like I'm a dick, but I'm really not. The goal of tutorials, guys, is to learn how to do this yourself. not to purchase a tutorial and then ask 10,000 questions to the guy who made the tutorial on, well, how do I do this? Well, how do I do that? Well, how do I do that? Especially when it's covered in the videos. Okay? That's annoying, aggravating even. And then, of course, the other reason is because people have a tendency to purchase these courses simply to get the project, and then they turn right around and request a refund, right? So if you don't include the project, they can't do that. And look, you can see right here, this is exactly what these folks were doing, right? They pay in some foreign currency, and then my cut of that foreign currency was $12 and something. Then they turn right around and request a refund. Same for this person. I'm on to you guys. Don't think I'm not. I'm on to you guys. I know what you're up to. Okay. And then, you know, there's really nothing I can do about them stealing the videos, right? And obviously, once you get access to the course, you get access to all the videos, and you can easily get the videos, right? And then turn around and request a refund. So there you have it. All right. So there's full transparency for you. Okay. And just to go over this really quickly, a lot of you guys that have followed me for a long time, been around here for a long time, a lot of the things that are covered in this are nothing new to you guys, right? So if you guys have bought the one that is for first person shooter, it's a lot of the same. Okay, so either one of my courses, you're going to learn a whole heap ton about how to do multiplayer. Yes, the first person one is for Unreal Engine 4, but you can easily follow that and it still applies in Unreal Engine 5. Really, the only thing different in Unreal Engine 5 is they gave it a new graphical interface, and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that we don't even use as blueprint scripters got changed and updated, but the majority of the stuff is exactly the same. Okay, so you guys can watch those other videos, but just really quickly here, we have a character with a crosshair. The character has 2 weapons. The character can move around. We don't have crouch or sprint. You press your Q button. You can switch between 2 different weapons. Auto fire projectile. Damage is in. Hit reacts is in. Reloads in. We made a grenade launcher with a explosive projectile. We created ourselves some pickups, 2 different kinds. This is explosive pickup, this is a bullet pickup, and this is a health pickup. We have death. Where the excuse me, where the character goes into a ragdoll and then does a random respawn. Okay, let me get me a drink here before I choke myself to death. Holy crap. This pollen here in Tennessee is wicked here lately, and it's killing me. Oh, and this being a Friday, there probably won't be very many people show up for this live stream, but I wanted to go ahead and make a video live stream because I haven't made one in a while. Okay. And so that's basically what we have. We created a master weapon, a master pickup. And, you know, guys, honestly, the way that I build these things, a lot of people don't do it the way that I do it, you know, by creating a master weapon. And, you know, most people you guys will see or have saw, they'll create a weapon blueprint, and they'll create one for hit scan and then one that does projectiles, and they're 2 completely different blueprints. They'll create one that's an assault rifle, one that's a shotgun, and they're 2 completely different blueprints. And the way that I build things and I show people how to do, we create one single master blueprint, and then from that, we script it in such a way that you don't have to create 15 different weapon blueprints. You create one blueprint, then you create a child blueprint, tinker around with some settings, and it's a completely different weapon. Okay. So I guess I could kind of show you guys that. You guys that have been around here, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the master weapon blueprint, and I'll just show you guys the scripting that's in this blueprint. So this is currently what's in it. And so when we get ready to make a new weapon, we just simply right click this thing, create a child blueprint. And then in that child blueprint right here, we don't have to put anything in this event graph. All we do is put in what mesh the weapon's going to use right here. And then we go to the class defaults and we can change these settings here, and it changes the behavior of the weapon, right? And it can be a projectile weapon or a hit scan weapon. See this right here is hit scan. All we got to do to make that a hit scan weapon is check this box true. If we want this to be a single fire weapon instead of auto, we simply hit this drop down box and change it to single fire. We can, put in the fire rate, etc., etc. We can plug in what sound effects it uses. We can plug in what particle effects it uses. We can plug in the animations that it uses. And every single weapon in this project, that weapon, this grenade launcher, all of them come from the exact same master blueprint. All we do is create a child, modify some parameters, voila, it's a different weapon. Okay. And also the pickup is the same way. So I work in the master child fashion, the way that you're actually supposed to do things. So every single one of these pickups are all the same exact pickup. And so if I was to open this up, this is the scripting that's in that master pickup. And all we have to do is drag in the pickup and set some parameters on it. See, if I drag this thing in here, all we got to do is say, well, is this a health pickup or a bullet? Well, let's say it's a bullet. Well, it's got the wrong particle effect. So we change the PS pickup from the health to the bullet, right? And then we can determine how many does it give? How many bullets do you want this thing to give you? How fast does it respawn after you pick it up? What sound does it make when you pick it up? And literally all you got to do is drag out another copy of it, and you can change those parameters here, and it'll be a completely different pickup. Okay. So we build these things in a way that you can add on to what we've already created, so that you don't have to, keep recreating the same crap over and over. Like as an example, when we get into phase 2, I'm sure I'm going to get questions on how do you make a weapon pickup, or how do you make a shield pickup, or how do you make a speed boost pickup, or a jump height pickup, etc., etc. And so all we will be doing is taking the master pickup that we created, and we'll be modifying this in here to allow the ability to make the same pickups that do all the health and the weapon ammo to be able to do speed boosts or jump height increases, etc., etc. And the same for the weapons, right? So when we get ready to make in phase 2, when we make like the rocket launcher or the homing rocket or sticky bombs, we don't have to make new blueprints. We go into the blueprints we already created and add a little bit more scripting to it to allow the ability to make it be a homing rocket or a sticky bomb, or a laser guided homing rocket, whatever the hell we decide to make in the next phase of this. So there you have it. And I mean, I guess that's all I'm going to talk about. So one more time, and then we'll move on. Phase 1 of this new tutorial series is now available on Udemy for $39.99. Please use the links provided by me. That helps me more. I get more of the money. And, after a little while, when people buy this and people's questions come in, I fully intend on adding more videos in phase 2 to this tutorial, and you don't have to rebuy anything. So if you buy it at $39.99, if I end up making 50 more videos for this, you'll still have access to them as soon as the videos are made, done, and uploaded. Okay. And that is the plan. Now, if 3 people buy this tutorial series and nobody else buys it, well, obviously there's no reason for me to continue making videos if nobody's even buying it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and close this down here. And let's bring chat over. So, hello, Oni. What's happening? Hello, Merc Guyver. Can I get the project file so I don't have to buy and refund? Joking. I'm sorry I have to rant like that, guys, but in this world that we live in, people want everything for free. Do I like free stuff? Absolutely. But, you know, people also have to pay the bills too. Right? And I mean, you know, I hate to say it, but I personally think my stuff is of a higher quality than a lot of the free crap you find. Okay. Okay. Hello, Jennifer. Finally caught you live. Woohoo. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for everything you're doing to spread the truth. You're very welcome. What did I miss? Y'all, you missed everything. Everything. Actually, you just missed me advertising. Is all you did, really. And you know, guys, look, I know you guys are as sick as advertising as I am, right? It seems like everywhere you go, people are trying to sell you, oh, go to my merch store and buy my hat, buy my shirt, buy my koozie, buy my this, buy my that. Like, share, and subscribe. Make this go viral. It's because of viewers like you that I can be able to do this, right? I know you guys are as sick of that as I am, okay? But at the end of the day, there comes a point in time when it becomes not worth the effort to do some of these things. Okay, it's just like I'm sitting here, you know, wasting my time making stupid YouTube videos that 30 people watch, you know? So when I make something that I intend to monetize, which is, you know, these Udemy courses, all the products I sell on the Unreal Engine 4 marketplace, Unreal Engine 5 marketplace, I still ain't never going to get used to saying that. But yeah, so there's that. And so what the hell did I do here? I thought I had the forums open. I guess not. So let's bring chat back over. Holy crap, man, look at this. I could like throw this stuff all over I don't even know how to operate this stuff anymore. I'm very familiar with your other content forum, other places, and only recently seen that we also had this in common. Well, thank you. And I guess Jennifer's laughing because I said she missed everything. No, you didn't miss anything. All right. So I guess, you know, we can talk about some Unreal Engine stuff now. So apparently they've released a way to make mods for Fortnite. Is that what I'm seeing here? Right? I don't know. Is that really what that is? And if they did, well, you know, back in the day, I can remember once upon a time when I was using UDK, aka Unreal Engine 3, it was basically that way. It came preloaded with Unreal Tournament, right? And so you could go in there and use what they had already created for Unreal Engine or Unreal Tournament, and you can make new maps and you can modify this and modify that. So apparently, you know, guys, honestly, I don't believe I've ever even played Fortnite. It wasn't nothing that really just interested me, but it seems, quote unquote, seems that they've released a way for you to make new maps, add new content. I don't know. And I've always suspected for a very long time, as much money as Fortnite has made for Epic Games and as much time as they devote to it, I figured that it wouldn't be but just a matter of time until they did that. You know, so, okay, so there's that. And, you know, they abandoned Unreal Tournament. Originally, they were going to do that, and they didn't do it. Well, they started out doing it and then they just abandoned it for whatever reason. I guess Lyra replaced it. Okay, so I guess the free content came out. I looked at it. I didn't really see anything that I was like, oh my God, I've got to have that. And it looks like they've got some more animation stuff. You know, honestly, guys, I'm just going to be honest here. I don't spend as much time doing this as I used to. A lot happened in my personal life that caused me to kind of back away from this stuff. But I still remember most everything that I've ever learned how to do and all that stuff. I just don't devote as much time to it as I used to. And so it looks like they've released some animation stuff here. I might check that out at some point. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm really just kind of browsing around with you guys and sharing whatever I can share. So there's that. And then I went and looked at the marketplace free content for the month. And oh, by the way, for those of you that are going to be doing that Udemy course, or for those of you who just want to know, there is a secret hidden place on the marketplace where you can find free stuff that you can't really find any other way. So when you come up here to the free category, instead of clicking any of these, just click right here where it says free. And then sort oldest first, and voila. This is where you will find a free military weapon silver, the dark. You got some free military characters that you can use. And this is what I used in that tutorial series. So just as sure as I tried to, you know, distribute that, this person would find out about it, and then I'd get in deep shit over distributing their free assets. So you got to be careful with that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of free stuff on here that there's no other way I found to find it except click right here where it says free. Okay, so the free for the month stuff, some people ask me about this. I generally don't even use any of this crap. But, you know, they got an underwater world, some sort of sky template, endless procedural worlds. None of that stuff just makes me go, oh my God, I've got to have that. And that right there being $179 at one point in time, holy crap. I bought some expensive stuff off this marketplace, but that, I mean, I guess it depends. What does this even do? Right? Like if we bring this up and look at it, what does this even do? It puts a bunch of boxes and crap in. I don't know. Does it work for multiplayer? I mean, that would be the best question to ask, because every time I've ever posted anything, the very first question is, does this work for multiplayer? And most of the time, the answer for most of these people is no. So does this? I don't know. Does it? I don't know. I don't have no idea. Probably not if I was guessing. I bet they use level streaming and it don't work for multiplayer. Ah, look right here. Obviously it says network replicated. No. Well, then basically it's useless because nobody's making single player games anymore. Okay. All right. So I guess we go to the forums now. Generally, I go through the forums and I just look through some of the topics, and sometimes I you know, chit chat about it. Sometimes there's something to say, sometimes there ain't. And we always go into the multiplayer networking section because that's generally what I do more than anything. Single player stuff's actually pretty easy. It's when you get into multiplayer that things go sideways and you have a hard time getting things to work. Or at least in my experience, that's the way it's been. Hey, look, somebody created a FAQ multiplayer and networking. It's free. You don't need my Udemy course. You can just go in there and learn everything you need to know right there. Let's see here. Is there any of these topics that I want to talk about? A lot of these topics are getting, client prediction for replicating anim montages. I show how I replicate montages, and I didn't have to do anything when it comes to client predictions. I don't know what they're doing, but the way that I do it, it works fine, and I don't have to predict anything. Now, I don't know what they're doing. I guess I could go in there and see, but if they're trying to use root motion, good luck with that, okay? Epic Games had to come up with an entirely new way of doing animation replication because root motion don't replicate worth crap. So seamless travel. How can I change the level for all connected clients in a multiplayer game? Map travel. Some of the projects that I sell include it. When the match is over, it takes you being the host and everybody connected to a new level. That ain't covered in the current Udemy, by the way, but it will be in phase 2. I'm sure somebody will want to know how you do map travel. You know what sucks about map travel in Unreal Engine? It doesn't work unless you package the build. So when you put in map travel and you try to travel just in your little editor, it don't work. I don't know why. I didn't build the Unreal Engine. I don't know why. But I could never get map travel to work unless you package the build and then it would work. I don't know why. I tried it every way you could think of. Never worked. Let's see here. Now this one right here, this is a really good question and a really good thing to talk about a little bit. I want the players to be able to travel between different levels, but they can meet each other in those levels. So most of you guys that have been around here for a while, you know that the only kind of scripting that I ever do for multiplayer involves doing a listen server. And the very specific reason that I do that is because all the other ways of doing it, you have to have a server. And servers generally cost money, right? It has to be running all the time. And it has to be a super powerful machine most of the time. So I do listen servers because that gives you the ability to see. Back in the day, I don't know how old most of my viewers are, but back in the day, that's how multiplayer games worked. One person launched the game, hosted up a server, and then you gave all your buddies your IP address or whatever, and they punched it in like a phone number and connected to your server. Or alternately, you did the same thing. You hosted your game, and then the game had a browser built into the game where you could look through every single hosted game that wasn't set to be private. And then you could join. So that's the way that I like to do it, because it doesn't cost anything, and you don't have to have, you're not going to run a listen server with 50 players connected and expect it to run worth of crap. But, for most of the things that you're testing and putting together and checking to see if it works, you can do a listen server and it'll support up to 10 players usually. And it's not a problem. And it don't cost you having to have a server or any of that stuff. But having said that, you are limited, right? Like this question. The reason that I'm rambling and talking about this is because of this specific question. Individual player travel to a different map while others players are on different maps. And that's kind of the same thing as this. I want the players to be able to travel between different levels, but they can meet each other in those levels. In order to accomplish either of these two mechanics, you have to either be really, really clever and really, really smart, or you have to have a dedicated server, right? Because the problem with listen servers is when the host joins, whatever map he opens, that's where the players join. And you can't have two different maps open at the same time in a listen server. But if you're smart, there's a way to fake it till you make it. Okay. And so I want to go ahead and talk about this. I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but I want to talk about it here because I do get a lot of questions about this. Okay. So I'm going to open up one of my products I sell. If you guys don't own this, you should. I'm just saying, right? If you haven't bought my FPS Basic or my TPS Basic, you should, because they're super awesome. Okay. So when I said fake it till you make it, here's what I want to talk to you guys about. So this product actually contains this, right? So you got single player and it's got a menu. If I hit multiplayer, you can host a game or you can find a game. This is a little menu I include. And then you can change your maps and set your time limits and all that stuff. And then you hit go and you pop in. Then you can pick whether you're a male or a female. And you can pick your team. Now, you're going to notice that there is a lobby here, but this is not a lobby like most people think. And this is not a lobby that most people talk about in tutorials. This is a lobby that allows you the ability to fake it till you make it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and join the lobby. And as you can see here, I'm in this contained area, right? See this? I can't get out of here, is what I'm getting at. Now, if I want to go join a team, I hit my tab button, and now I can actually pick a team, and it will remove me from the lobby, right? And now I'm actually out here where if there were other people here, we would be engaged in some massive team PvP right here. Red team versus blue team. And then at any given time during this match, I can hit the tab button and I can click lobby, and it will kill me off of the team that I'm currently on, and it will respawn me back into the lobby. Now, fake it till you make it, you would think that I'm traveling to different maps, right? So the lobby, generally, when people talk about a lobby, it's a completely different map, right? So you leave the map that you're playing the match on and you go to a different map, right? But I want to ask you guys a question here. So the question is, in a listen server, can you have more than one map open at a time? And the answer is no. Can you fake it till you make it and do what those people were asking? And the answer to that is absolutely. And I'm going to show you guys how. I'm going to open this map up. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight this here. And we're going to right click and say load region from selection. And this is my little map that we were just on. So right here you have the blue team side, and right here you have the red team side, and right here is the lobby. See that? Now I'm going to zoom way out here. Way out. Do you guys see how big this fucking map is? Do you guys see this? See? Look at all that out there. You see that? I see it. Do you see it? I see it. So riddle me this. Why couldn't you create your map that's this ginormous, and you make this section over here be the tropics. You make this section over here be the Antarctic. You make this section over here be a different planet. And you make this section over here be a town, a city, a futuristic city. You put some sort of a big structure up in the sky up here, and you make it be like the inside of a spaceship, right? And so instead of the player actually leaving this map, all he's doing instead is traveling to a different part of the same exact map, right? So in other words, instead of clicking lobby, you're clicking Antarctic. And instead of it spawning you in this little closed off area, it spawns you out in the middle of your map somewhere, way the hell out over here, that you can't get to the Antarctic area from the tropic area, right? And so you could do that, and you could build a inside of a building, as an example. You could make it look like a casino with your props, and you could call that your lobby. And then from the menu, when you go to the lobby, it teleports you to the area of the map that you have designated as your lobby, which looks like you're in a casino. The catch to that is you'll have to make it where you can't get into the casino or out of the casino with any way other than using the buttons in the map. And so the reason for that is this, right? So if I were to take and delete this wall and delete this wall, and then spawn in here and join the lobby, well, obviously, I can get out of the lobby. And I am on the lobby team, okay? So if I do that, that means that the people that are on this blue team can blow me away. And that also means that the people that are on the red team can blow me away. And that also means that I can blow all them away, right? So in a team-based game, it's problematic to allow access to your lobby any way other than through the map. Because if you're in here farting around at the casino, as an example, and some other player from the other team can get in here, he's going to blow away everybody in the casino. Okay? You may or may not want that. I don't know. What is this, Grand Theft Auto? I don't know. Can you do that? I don't know. But the point that I'm trying to make, and I'm being sarcastic and a little funny here, that's one thing that I do in my tutorials. I try to keep the mood light. I don't try to come in and be all precise and talk in language that nobody understands. But the point that I'm trying to make about this whole diatribe is these maps in this engine can be pretty damn big. Okay? And if you sculpt your terrain and set your area up a specific way, you can take one single map, and you can make it look like it's 10 different levels. And that's not counting putting things above the map, right? Like you could make a model, as an example, that looks like a big spaceship, right? And you could put things up in the air. You could also go one step further than that, and you can actually put things underneath the terrain, right? That you can't get to. And all you have to do is be just smart enough to figure out how to make somebody be able to access a map, and you be able to script in the logic to be able to teleport them from this area to this area, or from this area to this area, or from this area up into the spaceship, or from this area down underneath the terrain somewhere that's made to look like a cave, as an example. So, going back to this forum here, Now you guys know a way that you could do this and achieve this without having to have a dedicated server. You could do it with a listen server. Voila. Simple as that. All right. Let me bring Chad over here. Let's see here. It's level streaming, and no, you have to buy another version on his website that works for multiplayer. I figured as much. Now you're giving away my secrets. Oops. Sorry. I hope sometime you could do another video on what you don't like about UE5, because my opinion and experience is almost inverse of that. Well, I mean, I don't want to make a whole entire video of what the difference is, but one of the main things that I don't like about Unreal Engine 5 is not just an Unreal Engine 5 thing. So for those of it that have been around my YouTube page for a while, you guys know that my most favorite engine version is Unreal Engine 4 version 4.15. Okay? And the main reason for that is because every single engine version that they put out after 4.15, I started noticing a lot of latency coming into the engine. And most people wouldn't even notice that because they're doing single player stuff. But in multiplayer, every single little bit of latency that got introduced caused problems. Other than that, that is my biggest gripe. And that's not just an Unreal Engine 5 thing. That's a every single engine version thing. Another thing that I don't like about Unreal Engine 5, but this is not specifically for Unreal Engine 5, is being a content creator and having things for sale on the marketplace. Every single time they come out with a new engine version, they break almost everything. So, what I'm talking about here specifically is, how'd I even find my stuff? I don't even know how to run a computer. I don't have my own stuff bookmarked, but we'll go to it this way. Okay, so, yeah. So we'll go this way. So these things that I sell on the marketplace, every single engine version, I have to go in here and figure out what broke, right? And it's not because of the way that I built these projects. It's because they deprecated this node. They deprecated that node. They created this function to replace an older function, right? And so it literally takes me months after they come out with a new engine version to go through each one of these projects and fix all the things that they changed. Sometimes it's simply because of a latency issue, right? So in other words, as an example, if you do something on event begin play, right? And they introduce some latency so that it don't load exactly as fast as it used to, it generally breaks something that you've done on event begin play, and you have to go in there and either change the way that you're doing it, put some sort of a delay in it to make it where it waits just a little bit longer so that it has time to do what it is that it needs to do and it don't break. So that's the other big gripe. Other than that, you know, I don't really have a problem with Unreal Engine 5. I mean, I get lost in here trying to find something. You know, like I'm like, oh, where the hell did they move this to? And I'm in here going, all right, is it in this damn menu? Is it in this menu? Where the hell did they move it to? Right. And, you know, that's not nothing really other than just aggravating. But they literally do break stuff. Okay. And that's the biggest gripe. I like a lot of Unreal Engine 5, like the landscape tools and all that stuff. That's far better than it ever was. But you got to keep in mind, too, what I do, right? Like, I'm not going in here and creating, you know, terrains and lakes and creeks and streams. I'm not doing that. I'm not the artsy fartsy guy. I'm the hardcore, let's make a mechanic and get it done guy. And all that stuff's pretty much exactly the same to me. But the art side of the engine's definitely far better than it ever was in the other one. And like the geometry tools, I'm sure going in here and making your own geometry in the engine, that's helpful. The animation stuff that you can do in this newer engine is helpful. So there's a lot to love about Unreal Engine 5, but there's also a lot to, not so much. Okay. All right. So I guess I can close that down now and close that down now and close that down now. Where the hell were we? What were we doing again? I don't even remember now. Oh yeah, we're forum surfing. Let me get me a drink here. Okay. Let's see here. Sometimes I don't find very much in here that I really want to talk about. I just kind of look at through these topics and just see if anything pops out that I can talk about that might help somebody. That's really all I do. Let's see. You know, and I said once upon a time that I was going to mess with that chaos physics, and I never did. Replicating multicast sounds with lag. Question regarding co-op, board games. Multiplayer name appears mirrored when player enters. Go watch my Udemy course. I'll show you how to put a name above a player's head that ain't mirrored. Unless you want it mirrored, and we could do that too, probably. Let's see. Custom pawn not being read. Create sessions doesn't work. How to create XP option for players. That's something that, you know, we might cover in phase 2 of that Udemy course. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could cover, but the problem that I run into when trying to create tutorials and things, everybody wants to do it different, right? And I would literally have to make 7,000 videos in order to do it every single possible way that you could do something. So I have to pick and choose how I choose to do things, because otherwise I'll just be in an endless loop. Okay, so you could put a weapon on the character this way. Well, you could also delete and destroy all that and do it this way. Or alternately, you could do it that way. Or alternately, you could do it that way. So you would never get anything done. It would just constantly be doing, okay, let me show you 85 different ways that you can put a weapon on a character. You pick which one you like the best. That would never work. Let's see here. Problems with replication. Actor owning. Let's see. Jittery root motion. You shouldn't be using root motion in multiplayer. That ain't gonna work. Let's see. Unreal won't read input from second gamepad. Client not getting weapon class to spawn. The client shouldn't be spawning a weapon. The server should be spawning the weapon and then attaching it to the client and giving him ownership and authority, right? That's how it should work. Clients can't do anything except ask the server to do everything else. That's all the client gets the ability to do. It's kind of like, you know, being a dad. Dad, can I go outside and play? Not right now. Please. Okay, you can go. Right? Literally, that's multiplayer. The client asks the server, and the server determines, okay, I'll do it or I won't. Right? So this question is not a proper formatted question. Client not getting weapon class to spawn. The client ain't spawning a weapon. He better not be, and if he is, that's exactly why it don't work. Let's see. Multiplayer spawning issues. Unreal Engine respawn system. We did build a respawn system in that Udemy course. Alternately, you could possibly find a free one on my very YouTube page where I talk about multiplayer respawn, and I think we set one up. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on my YouTube page that is not named the way that it ought to be, and it's videos like this, right? Where I'm just in here talking, and then finally I run across something and I'm like, oh, well, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. We open up the engine and I actually go in there and do it, right? Like I go into the engine and say, okay, well, here's how I set up, multiplayer respawn. So if you hadn't watched all my videos, you probably missing a lot of stuff. I know I ramble a lot, but there's a lot of good information in there. Let's see here. Unpossessed pawn client ownership problem. I think the way that I set up, I was sitting there and my brain was stuck for a minute. I was sitting there thinking, I don't believe I have ever, well, I take that back. That's not true. But this brings up a good discussion to have. Okay. So, and once again, some of this stuff that I just talk about, for those that buy that Udemy course, the new one, we might actually cover some of this stuff in the tutorial, right? Like when I start phase 2, we might do it. So let's have a discussion about the possessing and unpossessing of pawns and whatnot. Because this is something I want you guys to think about and wrap your brains around. And let me start out by saying this. A lot of game dev, bruh, is trickery and faking it till you make it kind of stuff, okay? Just like with the map travel that we were talking about. You could do a whole, you could quote unquote simulate a whole lot of different maps on a single map so that you don't have to worry about, well, if the client tries to leave the host server and go to there, it disconnects them and stuff. You literally are just moving them to different areas of your map. So let's talk about this for a second, because this brings up a good discussion. Possessing and unpossessing pawns, and also it ties into the respawn mechanic. So there is only one instance that I can recall in all my years of doing game dev, bruh, that I've ever actually even used the unpossessed node. Right? So let me show you guys what I'm talking about here. So we'll open up this one. It doesn't matter. It's available in every single one of the my projects. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's see. Is it in the character blueprint? I think it is. At least it is in here. So I'm just going to kind of like come over here and do this. Don't look at my stuff. You can't have that for free. So in here you have possess. Okay, we may actually have to do it over here, or we could do it in the, okay. Let's just talk about this. So you're either possessing a character or you're unpossessing a character. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Well, when you do that, there is an event built into the engine that it triggers when you unpossess a pawn. Okay. So in the respawn mechanic that I built in this project, and I show you guys how to build, it's in the game mode here. After we do our respawn, you can see that the character that spawned, I'm running this possess on. So once again, you have possess and unpossess. So when you possess a character, it automatically unpossesses your old character. You follow me? So there's no reason in a respawn mechanic, there's no reason that you first have to unpossess your current pawn and then repossess a new pawn. When you get killed, it automatically runs my logic, right, that I set up in here so that it spawns you a new character, and then immediately after it spawns that character, we check the validity, and then we automatically possess the new character. When this happens, the moment that it possesses the new character, it automatically unpossesses the dead character. And when it unpossesses the dead character, this event fires. Which, as you can see here, I'm destroying all the weapon loadout that was on the dead character so that you don't have random, random weapons laying in your game from a character that isn't there anymore. So, having said that, there is one instance that I can recall using the unpossessed node. Okay? And so that's what we're going to talk about. I just wanted to show you guys that in the engine. When you possess a new character, it automatically unpossesses your old one. Now, the only place that I've ever actually used the unpossesses, I think, is when you're doing a mechanic where you're a player and you're getting onto a vehicle and back off of a vehicle. Now, I know you guys have probably seen 10 million tutorials on how you put a character on a vehicle and get them off of a vehicle. And then usually the very next question that gets asked, sorry, I'm kicking the crap out of my mic stand here. The very next question that gets asked is, how do I store my player's health and what weapons they have and how much ammo they have, so that when they get back off of the vehicle, you can give them all that stuff back again? Somebody asked me to do a tutorial on that one time, and instead of doing the tutorial the way that they wanted it done, I did it a completely different way. Okay? And so most of the tutorials you see about putting a character on a vehicle and getting them off a vehicle, they do all this weird shit where they destroy the character, then they spawn a new one, then attach it to the vehicle, and then they possess the vehicle, then they drive the vehicle around, and then when they get off, they destroy the one that's in the vehicle, spawn a new character, repossess that, blah, 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 blah. You guys have seen this. I know you have. So let's have a little discussion about the way that I showed how to do it, which the video for this doesn't exist anymore, I don't think, but it could potentially be covered in this new tutorial. We might do putting a character on and off a vehicle, but I want you guys to think about this for a second. And this also applies to weapons, right? So you guys have all seen videos where they do weapon pickups, and what they do is they put a prop in the game, and then when you interact with the prop, they destroy the prop, then they spawn a new weapon, then they attach it to the character, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so shut up, Galt, and just spit it out. Okay, here we go. So instead of doing all that bullshit, which then, once again, the very next question that gets asked is, how do I keep my player's inventory? How do I make sure he's got the same weapons saved before I destroy the character and put him in the vehicle so that when he comes out of the vehicle, I can give him back all the shit that he had, right? So what I did instead was, instead of destroying the character, what I did was I scripted it in where when you walk up to the vehicle and you interact with the vehicle, instead of destroying that character, I attached the character blueprint, which had all the weaponry and all the inventory associated with the character blueprint. I literally attached that blueprint to the vehicle. And when I did that, I changed the animation so that it looked like he was in a vehicle, and I possessed the vehicle, which automatically unpossessed the character blueprint. But as I was driving the vehicle, I'm dragging along behind me the character blueprint. So when I get to where I'm going and I get ready to get off the vehicle, all I did was unattach the character blueprint from the vehicle, change the animations, and give the character the possession of that character back. And then it removed it from the vehicle. And by doing it that way, I didn't have to worry about what weapons he had in his hand, how much ammo was in all the guns, because you're literally carrying that blueprint around with you on the vehicle. So when you get off the vehicle and repossess the character blueprint, you have everything that you had when you got on the vehicle, right? And that was the way that I did the tutorial on how to get on and off a vehicle, instead of all this other nonsense that you guys have seen where they destroy this, spawn that, fake this, make that look. And your weapons can be the exact same way, by the way. So instead of creating a weapon pickup that's just a prop, and then you spawn a new weapon and attach it to a character, why not just drag the weapon blueprint that you're wanting to attach to the character, use that as the prop instead of making a prop, right? So when you pick the weapon up, you're actually picking up a weapon blueprint that's being attached to your character. You're not walking over a fake one so you can spawn the real one and attach it. Okay. And so with that, let me get it caught up on chat here, and then I think I'm going to call this one a wrap. Let's see here. You deep dive on new enhanced inputs and priorities and switching techniques. There isn't a lot of info out there on this yet. And the answer to that is no. I haven't fooled with that. And really the main reason is another thing that I need to point out here is that I'm strictly a computer user, right? I don't do iPhone stuff. I don't do Android stuff. I don't do controller stuff. So a lot of that enhanced inputs that you're talking about, I believe that has to do with, you know, the controls of iPhones and iPads and game controllers. I just do it the old way, right? Where you create an input action in your INI, right? I just do it the old way. So I haven't even messed with that myself yet, really. Don't mean I won't at some point, but I never have seen the need for it. All right. So with that, guys, I'm going to get off here. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me on a Friday. I hope that you guys would get that new Udemy course, and I hope that you enjoy it. And if enough people get it and enough people show interest in it, there will be a phase 2. And then at that point, questions that you guys ask in the course, we'll be covering it in a video that'll be added to the videos that already exist. So with that, you all take care. This is John Galt, and we will see you in another video in another time. Have a good one.